Florida. You think you know it? Beaches, theme parks, and retirement communities? But what if I told you Florida has a town that's technically under the ocean, a submerged ancient forest, and rocks older than dinosaurs? Most people think Florida is just sunshine and Disney World. They're dead wrong. I spent 3 months digging through geological surveys, climate data, and historical records. What I found will completely change how you see the Sunshine State. Let's dive in. Fact 35. The Backwards River. The St. Johns River is one of only a handful of rivers in the United States that flows north instead of south. While almost every river flows toward the Gulf or Atlantic in a southerly direction, the St. Johns flows 310 miles northward because of Florida's flat topography. Just 30 feet of elevation change over 310 miles. Florida looked at basic geography and decided to do its own thing. Fact 34. The lightning capital, Florida, is one of America's lightning capitals. The corridor between Tampa and Orlando, nicknamed Lightning Alley, consistently ranks among the highest lightning density zones in the country. Florida still leads the nation in lightning fatalities year after year. Between 2006 and 2025, Florida recorded more lightning deaths than any other state. That afternoon thunderstorm, it's legitimately dangerous. Fact 33. The Coral Castle Mystery. In Homestead, there's a structure called Coral Castle, and nobody knows how it was built. Between 1923 and 1951, a single man named Edward Leeds Calneen carved and moved over 1,100 tons of coral rock, alone, with no modern machinery. Some stones weigh over 30 tons, heavier than Stonehenge blocks. Edward stood just 5 feet tall and weighed 100 pounds. He worked only at night and never let anyone watch. To this day, engineers can't fully explain his methods. Florida has its own ancient mystery, and it's less than 100 years old. Fact 32. The sinkhole state Florida is built on Swiss cheese. The entire state sits on limestone riddled with underground caves. When these collapse, you get sinkholes. Florida has more sinkholes than any other state. In 2013, a sinkhole in Seffner swallowed a man while he slept. He never recovered. In Winter Park, a sinkhole swallowed a house, 5 Porsches, and part of a swimming pool, creating a crater 350 feet wide and 75 feet deep. Fact 31, the underwater ghost. Town off Miami's coast. There's an entire city underwater, and it's not Atlantis. The Neptune Memorial Reef is a 16-acre underwater cemetery designed to look like Atlantis, made from human cremated remains mixed with concrete. Over 1,500 people have been buried here, their ashes forming artificial reef structures. You can scuba dive through a city of the dead while tropical fish swim through what used to be someone's grandfather. Fact 30. The Space Coast Wildlife. Kennedy Space Center isn't just a rocket launch site, it's one of the most biodiverse wildlife refuges in America. The 140,000-acre Merritt Island National Wildlife Refuge surrounds the Space Center. It's home to more endangered species than any other single refuge in the continental United States. Manatees, sea turtles, bald eagles, and over 330 bird species, all living next to billion-dollar spacecraft. NASA accidentally created one of America's premier wildlife sanctuaries. Fact 29. The Underwater Ancient Forest. Off the coast of Florida and Alabama lies a submerged ancient cypress forest preserved underwater for over 50,000 years. Hurricane Ivan in 2004 stripped away the sand covering it, revealing trees so well preserved that when cut, they still smell like fresh cypress. This underwater time capsule shows what the Gulf Coast looked like during the last ice age, when sea levels were much lower. Florida has an entire forest hidden beneath the waves. Fact 28, the southernmost point lie. Everyone takes photos at the southernmost point marker in Key West, but it's not actually the southernmost point. That honor belongs to Ballast Key, a private island about 9 miles west. The famous marker is simply the southernmost point accessible to the public. Florida has been running a clever geographic marketing campaign for decades. Very Florida. We've covered the bottom 8, but the next 27 facts get even wilder. Make sure you're subscribed. We're creating a whole series on hidden secrets in every state. Now let's get to Fact 27. Fact 27, the Hurricane Highway, Florida is the most hurricane-prone state in America by a massive margin. Since 1851, Florida has been hit by 120 hurricanes, more than Texas and Louisiana combined. Some parts of Florida get hit by a major hurricane every 7 to 10 years on average. Hurricane Ian in 2022 caused over $112 billion in damage, one of the costliest natural disasters in U.S. history. Fact 26. The oldest trees hidden in Florida's swamps are some of the oldest trees in the world. The Senator, a bald cypress in Big Tree Park, was 3,500 years old before it burned down in 2012. Florida's swamps contain multiple bald cypress trees, over 2,000 years old. These trees were seedlings when ancient Egypt was at its peak. They watched the entire history of the United States unfold. Fact 25, the coral reef crisis, Florida, has the only living coral barrier reef in the continental United States, and it's dying. The Florida Reef Tract stretches 360 miles, making it the third largest barrier reef system in the world. But rising temperatures, pollution, and disease have killed over 90% of the reef's coral in the past 40 years. In 2023, water temperatures hit 101 degrees Fahrenheit, hot tub levels, causing massive bleaching. Within our lifetime, Florida's reef could be completely dead. Fact 24. The python invasion. The Everglades have been invaded by an army of giant snakes, and they're winning. Burmese pythons, released by irresponsible pet owners, have established a breeding population of tens of thousands. These snakes can grow over 20 feet long and weigh 200 pounds. Since the pythons arrived, populations of raccoons, opossums, and bobcats have declined by over 90%. The state hosts python hunting competitions, but in 2023, hunters removed over 1,000 pythons, barely making a dent. Fact 23. The Bone Valley, Central Florida, sits on one of the richest fossil deposits in the world, Bone Valley. This area contains millions of prehistoric fossils from 5 to 25 million years ago. You can find megalodon shark teeth the size of your hand, ancient whale bones, and extinct mammals. Bone Valley has produced more fossils than almost anywhere else on Earth. Museums worldwide display specimens from this single Florida region. Fact 22, the Devil's Millhopper. Near Gainesville, there's a sinkhole so large, early settlers thought it was a gateway to hell. The Devil's Millhopper is a 120-foot deep, 500-foot wide sinkhole with its own miniature rainforest ecosystem inside. 12 streams flow down its walls, creating waterfalls and a microclimate 10 to 15 degrees cooler than the surface. The walls are packed with fossils, shark teeth, marine shells, and bones from extinct animals. It's like someone punched a hole through time. Fact 21. The Ghost. Orchid. Deep in Florida's swamps lives one of the world's rarest flowers, the ghost orchid. This flower has no leaves, appears to float in midair, and only blooms for a few weeks each year. There are fewer than 2,000 left in the wild. The ghost orchid can only be pollinated by a single species of moth, the giant sphinx moth. This flower inspired the book The Orchid Thief, which became the movie adaptation. Fact 20. The Underwater River. Beneath Florida's surface flows an entire river system you'll never see, unless you're a cave diver. The Floridan Aquifer contains quadrillions of gallons of freshwater flowing through limestone caves, some large enough to drive a truck through. Over 700 freshwater springs bubble up across Florida, pumping billions of gallons daily. This underground river provides drinking water for millions. Without it, the state would be uninhabitable. Fact 19. The Space Junk Graveyard. Off Florida's coast lies a graveyard of space history, rocket parts, satellites, and spacecraft debris. For decades, NASA and private space companies have been dropping spent rocket stages into the Atlantic just off Cape Canaveral. The ocean floor is littered with pieces of Apollo missions and Space Shuttle external tanks. Occasionally, storms wash pieces ashore. Florida's ocean floor is a museum of the space age. Fact 18. The Temperature Paradox. Florida has recorded snow multiple times, and it's absolutely surreal. The state has experienced measurable snowfall in every single county at least once. In 1977, snow fell in Miami for the first and only time in recorded history. Florida's temperature range spans over 100 degrees, from 2 degrees Fahrenheit to 109 degrees Fahrenheit. You can experience Arctic cold and Death Valley heat in the same state. Fact 17. The bioluminescent bays. On certain summer nights, Florida's waters glow electric blue, one of nature's most spectacular shows. Bioluminescent dinoflagellates light up when disturbed, creating glowing trails. The Indian River Lagoon and Mosquito Lagoon are among the best places in the world to see this. Every movement creates a burst of blue-green light. Dolphins leave glowing trails. It's like swimming through liquid starlight. Fact 16. The Coral Castle alignment. Remember the Coral Castle? It gets weirder. The entire structure is astronomically aligned. The main gate aligns perfectly with the North Star. Certain stones mark the summer and winter solstices. Edward Leeds Calnin had no formal education, yet he created a structure with astronomical precision rivaling ancient monuments. Edward took his secrets to the grave in 1951. Florida has a modern mystery that rivals the pyramids. Fact 15. The hurricane-proof house. After Hurricane Andrew destroyed 63,000 homes in 1992, one house remained completely undamaged, and it changed Florida building codes forever. The dome-shaped house in Mexico Beach withstood 185 miles per hour winds without a scratch. The secret monolithic dome construction, a continuous concrete shell with no weak points. That single house proved hurricane-proof construction is possible. It just costs more than developers want to spend. Fact 14. The skunk ape Florida has its own Bigfoot, and it smells terrible. The skunk ape is Florida's version of Sasquatch, a large, hairy, bipedal creature reported in the Everglades for decades. Hundreds of people have reported sightings. The most famous evidence is a series of photos from 2000 showing a large ape-like creature. Real or not, the skunk ape has become part of Florida folklore. Fact 13. The phosphate mines. Florida produces 75% of America's phosphate, a critical ingredient in fertilizer that feeds the world. These massive mining operations have created a landscape that looks like another planet. Phosphate naturally contains uranium and radium, making some mining waste mildly radioactive. In 2021, a phosphate plant's wastewater reservoir nearly collapsed, threatening to flood the region with 340 million gallons of contaminated water. Fact 12. The submarine springs. Freshwater springs don't just bubble up on land, they also erupt from the ocean floor. Off Florida's coast, freshwater springs pump millions of gallons daily directly into the ocean, creating visible boundaries where fresh and salt water meet, like underwater rivers flowing through the ocean. Some springs are so powerful, they create surface boils visible from boats. Florida's aquifer feeds the ocean too. Fact 11. The hurricane. Names Florida has been hit by so many hurricanes, certain names have been permanently retired from use. Andrew, Charlie, Francis, Ivan, Jan, Katrina, Wilma, Irma, Michael, Ian. These names will never be used again because the storms were so devastating. Florida has more retired hurricane names than any other state, a grim record of destruction. And with climate change, this list will only grow longer. Fact 10. The living fossil. Florida's beaches are home to a creature that's barely changed in 450 million years, the horseshoe crab. These animals existed before dinosaurs. They've survived 5 mass extinction events. But here's the truly wild part. Their blood is blue and worth $15,000 per quart. Horseshoe crab blood detects bacterial contamination. Every vaccine, every injectable drug is tested with it. Every COVID vaccine was tested using horseshoe crab blood. Fact 9. The underwater caves. Florida has the longest underwater cave system in the United States, and it's one of the most dangerous places on Earth to dive. The state has over 1,000 documented freshwater springs connected by hundreds of miles of underwater caves. These caves are crystal clear. You can see over 200 feet, but they're also deadly. Over 400 divers have died in Florida's caves. One wrong turn, and you're trapped in an underwater maze with limited air. Fact 8. the manatee migration. Every winter, hundreds of manatees migrate to Florida's warm springs, and you can swim with them. Manatees can't survive in water below 68 degrees Fahrenheit. When ocean temperatures drop, they crowd into Florida's 72-degree Fahrenheit springs. Crystal River is the only place in the United States where you can legally swim with wild manatees, but their future is uncertain. In 2021, over 1,100 manatees died, a record, mostly from starvation due to seagrass die-offs. Fact 7. The lightning rod. A Florida park ranger named Roy Sullivan was struck by lightning 7 times and survived every single one. Between 1942 and 1977, Sullivan was hit by lightning more than any other human in recorded history. He lost a toenail, had his eyebrows burned off, his hair set on fire multiple times, but he kept surviving. The odds of being struck 7 times? Astronomically impossible. He earned the nickname Human Lightning Rod. Fact 6. The coral restoration and scientists are fighting to save Florida's dying reef using coral farming. Researchers grow coral in underwater nurseries, then transplant healthy colonies back to damaged reefs. The Coral Restoration Foundation has planted over 200,000 corals, the largest reef restoration project in the world. They're also experimenting with supercorals, heat-resistant varieties that can survive warming oceans. Some restored areas are showing signs of recovery. Fact 5. The Space Coast Economy. Florida's Space Coast generates over $5.9 billion annually, and it's growing faster than ever. With SpaceX, Blue Origin, and NASA all launching from Florida, the state has become the undisputed center of America's space industry. In 2023 alone, there were over 70 orbital launches from Florida, more than any other location on Earth. This space boom has created 50,000-plus high-paying jobs. Florida isn't just watching the space race, it's hosting it. Fact 4. The Everglades Restoration. The Everglades Restoration is the largest environmental restoration project in human history, and it's happening right now. The comprehensive Everglades Restoration Plan will cost over $23 billion and take 50 years to complete. Engineers are literally replumbing South Florida, removing canals, restoring wetlands, and redirecting billions of gallons of water. If successful, it will save one of the world's most unique ecosystems and secure South Florida's water supply for generations. Fact 3. The insurance crisis. Florida's insurance market is collapsing, and it's threatening the entire state's economy. Over a dozen major insurance companies have pulled out of Florida since 2022. Those who can find insurance are paying 3 to 4 times the national average, sometimes $10,000 plus annually for a modest home. The problem? Hurricanes, fraud, and litigation have made Florida too risky to insure. Some homeowners are going uninsured, a catastrophic gamble in a hurricane-prone state. Fact 2. The water wars. Florida, Georgia, and Alabama have been fighting over water for 30 years, and it's getting worse. The Apalachicola-Chattahoochee-Flint River Basin provides water to millions, but there's not enough to go around. Atlanta's explosive growth has drained rivers that Florida's oyster industry depends on. The Supreme Court has ruled on this dispute multiple times, but no solution satisfies everyone. As climate change reduces rainfall, these water wars will only intensify. Fact 1. The climate crossroads. And the number one fact that will blow your mind, Florida is ground zero for climate change in America, and the next 20 years will determine if the state survives. By 2050, sea levels could rise 1 to 2 feet, flooding billions of dollars in real estate and displacing millions of people. Miami, Fort Lauderdale, and the Keys could become partially uninhabitable. Some neighborhoods are already experiencing chronic flooding. But it's not just sea level rise. Hurricanes are intensifying, heat waves are becoming deadly, insurance is disappearing. Florida is facing an existential crisis. The state must invest hundreds of billions in adaptation, seawalls, elevated infrastructure, water management, or face catastrophic decline. Some scientists believe parts of South Florida will be abandoned within our lifetime. Others believe technology can save the state. The truth? Nobody knows. Florida is the test case for whether humanity can adapt to climate change or will be forced to retreat. The next 20 years will determine Florida's fate, and possibly the fate of coastal cities worldwide. So there you have it, 35 hidden secrets about Florida that will blow your mind. From ancient trees older than civilization to a climate crisis that could reshape the state, Florida is far more complex than beaches and theme parks. But here's the thing, every state has hidden secrets. Texas has mysteries that rival Florida's. California's hidden truths are even more shocking. That's exactly what we're covering in our next videos. The hidden secrets of Texas, California, and New York that nobody talks about. Click the link in the description below to check out our videos and make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss them. We're building a complete series on every state's hidden secrets, the facts that change how you see America. Drop a comment below with the most surprising fact you learned. Was it the underwater city? The sunken forest? The climate crisis? Knowledge is power. Choose wisely. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.